Hola a todos, ¿cómo están? Primero que nada, me permito presentarnos. Nosotros somos MAT, Matemáticas Aplicadas a Tecnología. Una de nuestras inspiraciones son las matemáticas, como bien lo dice nuestro acrónimo. Y citado por Galileo, las matemáticas son una ciencia peligrosa que revela decepciones y errores de cálculo. Hoy, Fanny y yo, del equipo de MAT, estaremos con ustedes. Mi nombre es Lisbeth Hernández y soy la Business Developer para el mercado de España y Latam. Y Fanny Duchet está aquí conmigo y es nuestra Data Scientist. Nosotros, en MAT, como matemáticos y expertos tecnológicos, apoyamos a los comerciantes para que se beneficien de las regulaciones actuales y ayudamos a nuestros clientes a superar los desafíos en el complejo entorno de pago con la finalidad de optimizar sus inversiones y realizar ahorros sustanciales. En este sentido, MAT le ayuda a encontrar las oportunidades de reembolsos de sus facturas con sobrecargos o con errores y a comparar el margen de sus proveedores de aceptación de pago con aquellos de su industria, a fin de obtener ahorros potenciales y beneficiarse de un flujo de efectivo adicional. Los pagos y la tecnología tradicionales convergen como reguladores, y los servicios bancarios imponen a los comerciantes la tarea de transformarse, adaptarse y mejorar la experiencia para sus clientes. Como comerciantes, para ustedes esta aceptación de pago tiene un costo, que se encuentra inmerso en una estructura de costos compleja. Hoy le presentamos las oportunidades y desafíos en el entorno de aceptación de pago con tarjeta, desde el punto de vista científico-empresarial y desde una expertise independiente. Le dejo la palabra a mi compañera Fanny.
Thanks, Lisbeth, for your introduction. In fact, I'm going to talk about the evolution of the means of payment. This evolution evolves differently all around the world because countries have not the same functioning. Mexico is a part of emerging countries with potential. That is why we decided to present you this subject. We know that you have real potential in card payments. So my goal today is to ensure a better understanding of this environment in order to provide you elements that could help you to keep a good knowledge of card payment. First, I'm going to talk about the use of cash in Mexico. Despite the increasing digitalization of the economy worldwide, in 2015, 90% were made through cash payments. The use of cash is so important that recently in 2017, as you all heard maybe, Amazon allowed purchases by cash in Mexico. We all know that using cash has costs, as for you, consumer, as merchant. In fact, for you, you have to find an ATM near to you, so we can say that it's a time cost. Concerning merchants, many costs related to cash are present. First, we have cost of transport. Here, it is the transportation of cash between the commerce and the bank. We need to appoint cash transportation companies in order to carry safely the money. Then we have cost of mistrust. It is important to have accurate internal control processes at every stage of handling cash. Moreover, it creates a climate of trust between stakeholders. Staff costs. These are equipment set up in order to reduce the cost of training staff at the cash desk. Time related to the handling of cash while optimizing customer services. Finally, counting cost and cost of errors. We can say that it's quite the same. We talk about the people who are in charge of checking if the amount of money is correct or not. And how, as we all know, people could make some mistakes, which have a cost because it must be identified and rectified. Nowadays, you may know that the use of card payment begins to increase more and more. In fact, on the graph, we can see that between 2011 and 2016, the number of debit cards in circulation increased from around 750 to 1,100. This increase could be explained by the fact that the Mexican government set up a regulation on debit card emission for employees who were unbound. This leads us to the next point, the action taken by Banco de Mexico in order to improve and develop the use of card payment. Banco de Mexico is a regulation body. They have the role of setting the overall system of the electronic payment infrastructure. First, in 1994, they created the SPE electronic payment system, which was intended to reduce the use of checks. And then in 2005, they created the SPEI, Interbank Electronic Payment System, which has the same goal, but which is safer, faster, and more efficient. Secondly, Banco de Mexico tried to improve the use of card of payment through an increase of the number of participants on the acquirers market and by encouraging POS infrastructure. Also, in June 2011, Banco de Mexico promoted the creation of accounts easily openable, so that accessibility to card payment will be easier for people with low incomes. After that, we have intervenant. What do I mean with this part? In 2014, Banco de Mexico and the CNBV, Comisión Nacional Bancaria y Valores, have defined PSP's role. Commonly in Mexico, the PSP is affiliated to an aggregator who offers the merchant card payment services, for which they usually charge a proportion on the amount of payments. This has reduced the cost of payments acceptance services with cards for small businesses. PSP also contributed to the increase of the number of terminal of payments to companies with low sale volumes. Mexican government has set up a regulation on POS, also called FIMP, which objective was to increase the number of POS in Mexico. In fact, between 2013 and 2016, the number of POS had increased at an annual average rate of 16%, and in December 2016, the number of POS installed by PSP represented 23% of the total installed POS in Mexico. So we could hypothetically say that these 23% could be small businesses which are now equipped with POS, enable the use of card for low transaction. Mexico make maximum discount rates available on their websites, but this is a maximum, so you don't really know what will be the best discount for you, for your business. This is why it is important to be helped by external person. Let me remind you that today there is a weak knowledge of card payments. As I said, Mexico is a part of emerging countries which own numerous drivers, but Mexico has to be accompanied to have better understanding. To prove it, in 2011 has been set up the Durbin Law in the US, a regulation about interchange fee on debit card, but nothing on credit card. Even if we could think that it could be the benefit for you, it's not, because there is a trend to an increase of credit card emission, so merchants will pay more. Losses are estimated to 300 million. To illustrate it, in 2014, card payment represented 71.6% of electronic transaction. It is important to note that the average purchase with debit card is close to $39, whereas with credit card, it's close to $60. So we can say that credit card are used for maybe higher amount of transaction. Also, there are some figures showing that the use of card payment increases years after years. As we can see, Mexicans use cash at 13%, 20% debit card, and 26% credit card. Even here, credit card are above debit card. I'll let you think about that. Also, PayPal is very famous in Mexico, and it could be the representation of the 41% of other means of payments. Since 2006, the use of credit card and debit card has increased. As the number can illustrate this increase, debit card has increased with an annual average rate of 10%, in comparison to credit card, which increased with an annual average rate of 4%. In 2016, there were 137 million of debit cards against 31 million for credit cards. If you have a little look per business type, we can notice that the annual average increase rate concerning electronic payments, 17% for hypermarkets, 27% for gas station, 11% for supermarkets, and 19% for other businesses. Let's pass now to the core subject, which may interest you a lot, card payment. There is the four-corner scheme model usually used in electronic banking. So, as we know, when a consumer makes a purchase in your commerce, he enters his card in the POS, and then you both have to wait a few seconds before the acceptance of the transaction. During this time, these are exchanges between your bank and the consumer's bank. In fact, when your POS receives the purchase, An authorization demand is sent to the consumer's bank via your bank and the card network to know if there are enough funds in his card. After that, different commissions are debited depending on the banking entity, the different agreements, the card networks. So many factors need to be taken into account in this process. When a consumer pays $100, you will receive $100 less all the charges behind. There is your principal interest today. Let me remind you that now we all know how the four-corner scheme works. In our case, we are more interested about the merchant commissions, more simply the exchanges between you and your bank, the commission you pay. So who really knows exactly how much he pays to his bank? The only thing I can tell you today is that transparency is something difficult to have. In fact, you may believe your bank when they told you that you paid better rates, but it's not always the case. For example, you all know that years after years, interchange rate decrease all around the world, of course at different speed, but they decrease. In Mexico, it has decreased from 2.84% to 2.21% for credit card between 2005 and 2016. Then we could imagine that if interchange fee decreases, thus what you pay will decrease too, right? But it's not the case. In fact, as you can see on this graphic, as interchange fee decrease, your bank's margin still continues to increase, and at the expense of who? I'll let you think about that. We can also talk about the Durbin Law, which has no benefit on credit card for merchants. And as I said before, the trend today is an increase of credit card emission. Prior to 2016, major of the European countries were invoiced on a fixed rate basis. We support merchants to integrate an interchange plus rate. We foresee the US and the Latin merchants market to emerge with such pricing structure in order to better control and optimize the cost. An interchange rate gives the possibility to provide you with a granular cost of your card profile. To give you some analogy, it is like a telecom operator will give you a fixed rate for any calls made in Mexico and abroad, and this fixed rate they charge you for your call in Mexico will exceed a normal call in Mexico. In this example, you see that the operator is providing you the pricing of a call without giving you the benefit to split or to differentiate a local call and an international call, which is not fully transparent and cost efficient for you. Before coming to the cost optimization of means of payments, we advise you to be supported by a third party like us in order to understand the pricing structure to find out the real and optimal benefits, and to avoid banks to find their way to keep increasing their margin through your business. In the meantime, let me introduce you some opportunities and extra income. With the increasing digitalization of our economy, many means of payment are emerging. First, the contactless. Therefore, there are obviously positive and negative points to know about that. Please find the following comparison of a traditional payment versus contactless payment. Let's focus on the positive points. Using traditional card payment is fast and more accessible than contactless because not every business is equipped with the extra service on the POS. Also, payments with a traditional card are rarely capped below $30 as contactless payment. But this is a current subject of discussion. Contactless payment is more efficient. In fact, for low amount transaction, you just have to pass your card and then the transactions are made. So it produces more transactions, so more profit for you. For drawbacks, with traditional card payment, in some country you should enter a confidential code, so you lost some time to enter it. We can talk about the time loss, so less transactions. In countries, you are asked to sign the ticket, and there is a high level of fraud with that because it is not secure. But governments are working to improve the feeling of secure transactions with the contactless. Finally, the accessibility is still to discuss because not all business can afford to pay an extra to have this functionality. Dynamic currency conversion. Here it is a significant advantage for you. If a foreigner comes to make a purchase at your business, for example, if the customer comes from Europe, when he makes the transaction, he can choose to pay in euro or in pesos. In Mexico, major of the currency conversion is made through your bank. With DCC, you can get a commission on the conversion. The DCC is mainly for physical merchants. For e-commerce merchants, they have the option of eDCC or NCP. For this, we invite you to discuss this subject with us. E-commerce platform. Here we talk about cross-border conversion. When a French make a purchase on a Mexican website, you can earn extra by implementing conditions and arrangements with your PSP. We can challenge PSP in terms of pricing, which is the intermediary between your website and your bank. Donations on payment terminal. This is the case when on your POS screen, they ask if the consumer wants to participate to a donation for an association. If you accept, you may know that you earn a part of this donation, your bank too, and finally, the association get the rest. So your margin could be reviewed here as well. These are some advices I could give you in the short time we have. I leave you by saying that you have to keep in mind that you cannot do optimal savings alone in such complex environments and competitive markets. Do not be ashamed of asking help to external party who could bring you a true additional value. Now, I let Elizabeth to conclude this presentation. Thank you.
Gracias, Fanny. Como conclusión y como expertos en este campo, nosotros restablecemos los beneficios que sus proveedores de servicio de pago no le transfieren automáticamente. Por ejemplo, hemos encontrado 10 billones de dólares en facturas con errores y sobrecargos. ¿Se imaginan cuánto ahorro representa esta cifra? Y como Fanny nos mencionó en la presentación, incluso con una disminución en tarifas de pago y comisiones, los proveedores bancarios aún obtuvieron un mayor margen. Es por ello que M.A.T., como un actor tercero e independiente, le ayudamos a aumentar su poder de negociación y al mismo tiempo mantener una buena relación bancaria. Nosotros lo ayudamos a capitalizar estas oportunidades y a realizar ahorros sobre una base libre de riesgo, lo que significa que nuestra remuneración se basa en una comisión sobre éxito, es decir, se nos paga de acuerdo con los ahorros reales que conseguimos para usted. Les pregunto, ¿a quién no le gustaría generar más ingresos para su empresa o beneficiarse de un flujo efectivo adicional? Bueno, pues M.A.T. busca lograr todos estos ahorros óptimos y capitalizar oportunidades. Compartiremos con usted durante nuestro proyecto este conocimiento único y nuestros diferentes ángulos de análisis. Finalmente, me complace haberlos tenido como participantes. Espero que este web seminar les haya permitido aprender cosas nuevas y lo hayan disfrutado. Y si estás ansioso por hacer ahorros, no dudes en contactarme a la siguiente dirección email: lisbeth@mat-n-co.com o a nuestro correo genérico contact@mat-n-co.com. Muchas gracias y quedamos a su disposición.